Look at this question now. For each of the following pair, indicate which one of the two species is larger. Now these are the two species are giving here. Number one in A, nitrogen 3 minus, iron, not iron, fluorine 1 minus. Out of these two species, which one is larger? So there are concepts, you have to identify which one is larger. Either the second one is magnesium 2 plus, calcium 2 plus, iron 2 plus, iron 3 plus. So which one is larger? So you have different rules on the basis of this. So first of all, to identify number 1A, nitrogen 3 minus is larger or fluorine 1 minus is larger. So look at first of all, atomic number you just find out. So atomic number is 7 plus 3 is 10 and fluorine is 9 plus 1 is 10. So it means atomic number are same. In that case, we can say, sir, this is isoelectronic. So if it is isoelectronic, so size will be okay. But the size will depends on the charges. Any species which has greater than negative charge, because both charge are same, plus and minus, that is a different thing. But now minus, right, means both has a capacity to receive electron. So in that case, atomic number are same. So how you identify? You can identify which species has the larger anion or larger the charge. If larger the charge, that is larger the size of the species. Okay. In case of isoelectronic, if the charge is large, suppose 3 is large and 1 is small. So if the charge is large, it means that its size will be larger than fluorine. Is it clear, the first concept? Hello?
Yes, clear.
So what is the basic concept of this? If this type of species suppose you have, so on what basis you can say that its charge, its size is greater than this because of what?
If it is minus,
Two ways, teacher. First, by knowing its place in the periodic table, or by its ionic, the more charge, the bigger.
Right. If both are positive, suppose 3 plus and 2 plus, right? So in that case, which one is greater?
2 plus.
I can see it's 2 plus.
2 plus will be greater because only 2 electron removed and 3 plus means 3 electron removed, right? So size becomes small. That is also come another example. So the second example is if the species are on the same group and having the same charge. So how you identify that its size will be smaller and greater? So in that case, only you consider is atomic number, because the charge is same and also it is in the same group. So in that case, you have to consider atomic number. If greater the atomic number, greater the size. Okay. And a third one is same element, but the charge are different. Same element, same atomic number, but the charge are different. So just like as I told you, 2 plus and 3 plus. So 2 plus means 2 electron loss and 3 plus means 3 electron loss. When 3 electron loss, it means that the size becomes small. And 2 electron as compared to 2 electron loss, right? So the size of the 2 plus charge are greater than the size of 3 plus charge. Like just look at here the example. I already picked draw the picture here. Iron. This is the Fe2 plus. This is Fe3. Sorry, Fe3 plus. This is Fe2 plus. This is the size is greater than Fe3 plus. Is it clear now? The answer is already written here. This is explanation. This is explanation. right? Now ionization energy. Ionization energy, actually the energy required to remove electron from gaseous atom or from ground state, right? This is only the definition of ionization energy. Suppose you have nucleus, now you have this shell and the electrons are here, right? The electrons are here. So the energy, ionization energy is that energy, this is the energy which hit the electron and electron will move. So minus electron will go out from the shell. This energy is known as ionization energy. Ionize. The electron is ionized from its ground state of this atomic structure, right? So now look the definition. Is the minimum energy required to remove an electron from gaseous atom in its ground state. Now this is single atom, right? Suppose sodium. Sodium, you have this atomic number is 11. So 1s2, 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 6. So this is 1s2 here. This is 2 and 2p, right? 2s2 and 2p6, total 8. 2p is the same, second shell. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 6. And now 3s1. This is the characteristic electronic configuration of sodium atom. Now question is ionization energy. So in the this is 3s. So 3s will be here, third shell, 3s. The energy required to remove this electron, outer electron, valence electron. That energy is required to remove this electron from the gaseous atom is known as ionization energy. Is it clear now? Now after removing, then you will get 1s2, 2s2, 2p, 6. These 3 has to remove. Now what we have? We have this 2 electron and 8 electron. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 2 electron, 8 to 10. Only 10 electron left. Now question is that this is the very great attraction between 8 electron and the nucleus, positive charge. These are strongly bonded as compared to the third. The third one is away from the nucleus. And now this is close to the nucleus. So these 8 electrons are bonding with the nucleus is a greater force. So more energy required to remove this electron from the shell. Similarly, this one s2. So this is 1s2, right? And 2s2, 2p6 is the same energy. But 1s2, which is the first shell, these are more closer to the nucleus. It will be having high energy required to remove this electron. So the first energy, ionization energy, always less than second ionization energy, less than third ionization energy. That's why the question may be asked, why the third ionization energy is greater than the first ionization energy? So how you will be replied? How you answer this question? Can you tell me please? Hello?
Because it's near for the nuclear.
Yeah,
So
which one is near? So you have to mention clearly the first shell is very close to the nucleus, so electron is highly attractive force bonded with the nucleus. Okay, as compared to the second shell, and second shell the electrons as compared to the last third shell. Third shell is away from the nucleus, having the less force of attraction between nucleus and electron. But the first shell, the electrons highly bonded with the nucleus with a greater force. So it requires more energy to remove electron from the first shell as compared to second shell compared to third shell. If it is not clear, please ask me now. Any question?
Oh, doctor,
Yes.
when it is less attraction force, it will be greater ionization energy.
No, less. No. If greater the force, greater ionization energy. Lesser the force, lesser ionization energy. So lesser the force only in between the third or fourth or fifth shell, last shell, as compared to the first, second, like this. So I will write here greater the force between electron and nucleus, positive charge, right? More the ionization energy. It means that the third shell is away from the nucleus, has the less force. Less force, less energy will be required. Is it clear now? Hello?
Yes, doctor, it's clear now.
Please note down this, please. Note. This is no need, just only that explanation I already written, that is more than enough. Which atom should have the smaller first ionization energy? Oxygen and sulfur. So oxygen, just you write oxygen, you will write here 1s2, 2s2, 2p4. Total is 8, right? Oxygen atomic number is 8. And sulfur is 32, right? So sulfur is 16 atomic number. So 1s2, 2s2, 2p is 6, 3s2, 3p. So this is 6, 10, 12, and 12, 4. Right? So this is third shell, and now it is only two shell. Both oxygen and sulfur are in the same group. So the characteristic configuration will be same. S and P, S2 and P4. They both have the same characteristic configuration. Only the group are different. This is second group. Now this is third group. Third shell or second shell. So the question is, which one the first ionization energy is higher or less or more? So this is the third one, the sulfur. Sulfur has 3s2, 3p6, total is 6 electron, and it has third shell. So third shell is away from nucleus, and this is second shell, like this. So now total is 6 electron here. This is 2 electron, and it has third shell. So this is third shell, and now this is second shell. So from which shell you can easily remove electron? Tell me now.
From third shell.
Yeah, from third shell you can easily remove. So it means which one has less energy to remove the electron?
Silver.
Sulfur. Sulfur has less energy to remove the electron from the shell, okay, as compared to oxygen. And which second part, which atom would have the high second ionization energy? This is a first ionization energy, you remove the one electron from here. And second ionization energy. So in this lithium and beryllium, right? Suppose an example I will take it. Lithium and beryllium atomic number 4. So this is 1s2, 2s2. Lithium is only S, right? So this is lithium, sodium, potassium. There are 3, so this is 1. There are 3 electrons. Beryllium, 1s2, 2s2. This is second group. This is the first group. This one is first group, lithium. And this beryllium is second group. So the last electron should be 2, second group, because as both are S1 and S2 orbitals. So the question is, which have the higher second ionization energy? The first ionization energy is very easy, right? Because this is unpaired. First ionization energy very small, right? Because both are second, first and second, first, second, but it is unpaired. This can be easily removed from the lithium, but this is paired. This is paired like this. It is easy, right? That is easy to remove. Easily remove, right? And this is paired, so it is very difficult to break down this paired electron. So now the first you remove this. After removing, you will get only these 2 electrons. After removing this, you will get in 2s. This is 1s, this is 2s. This is, I'm talking about now, this is 1s left, right? Now this is still 2s, having 1 electron. So that this is first ionization energy, easily remove this electron because this is unpaired. So first is easy. But the second electron is very difficult from here as compared to this, because this is only single electron in the second orbital. This is the first orbital. It is very close to the nucleus. This is highly bonded. So the second ionization energy is greater than first ionization energy. The second ionization energy of the lithium is greater than the second ionization energy of the beryllium, because single electron easily removed. But this electron is still in the second orbital, but this is the first orbital, first s. This is second s. So what you understand about these things? Just tell me now, please. First you tell me the first ionization energy, which one has high or low. Then second question is the second ionization, which one is energy high or low. Tell me one by one.
Doctor, please, can you repeat the last point? How can I find the second ionization energy?
Okay. Second ionization energy, the first you understand, right? Because the lithium has only single electron in the outer shell. But beryllium has 2 electrons in the outer shell. It's more bonded, paired electron. So this tightly bonded, more force with that, right? So the first electron from the second shell is easily removed in the lithium, and the first electron from the beryllium is having high energy to remove the electron from the second shell of beryllium. So I can write here the first ionization energy of lithium is less than first ionization energy of beryllium. All right. Now come to the second ionization energy, means second electron. So after in the lithium, after removing one electron, these 1s is left. This is 1s, and 1s contain 2 electron and very close to the nucleus. And now here, after removing one electron from the beryllium, you have still one electron, but in 2s, still higher than lithium. It's the second shell. It is away from the nucleus. So this electron in the beryllium is bonded with the nucleus very less, not very less, right? Because it is second shell, so it is away from the nucleus, the force are less as compared to the lithium, which is paired and in the 1s close to the nucleus. So the second electron in the lithium is very difficult to remove because it is highly bonded with the nucleus. At more the force and more ionization energy required. But in case of beryllium, the second shell, only one electron left. So this is not easy to remove. Sorry, this is easily removed because it is in the second shell. Is it clear, second point, or we have to explain again, please?
Yes, it's
I will
clear.
write the second point here. The second ionization energy of the lithium is greater than second ionization energy of the beryllium. This is the difference. The first ionization energy of the first electron, first electron, and in the lithium and in the beryllium. This is second ionization energy for the second electron in both. Second electron. This is the first electron. I think this is the justification. I think you understand now. Any other student which is not clear, please ask me now. Which point is not clear? Hello?
Clear.
Ask other student, please. But maybe this type of question you will find in the final exam or midterm, something like this. The reasoning. You have to write something. So you should know the concept, right? Electron affinity, just I will give you the brief idea only. Electron affinity, just to ionization energy to remove the electron, right? But electron affinity opposite to ionization energy, addition of electron. It means that addition of electron. Addition. On addition of electron, then you will get negative ion, anion. Right? The electron affinity is the negative of the energy change that occurs when an electron is accepted by an atom in the gaseous state to form an anion. All right. So this is, just simply you can write what is the electron affinity. It is the affinity which element has the power to attract the electron, right? Just like fluorine and oxygen. So fluorine and oxygen, the fluorine has more electronegativity than oxygen. See, plus 328 and 141 kilojoules. This is actually electron affinity, right? So this electron affinity means attraction. How it is attracted from left to right, the electronegativity will be high from left to right. So oxygen here and fluorine is here. So fluorine has more attractive power than oxygen. It means it will receive electron by attraction force 328, and now this is only 148 kilojoules. All right, so same energy. Okay, now look at here. Suppose now fluorine you will add an electron, then you will get fluorine minus, right? When you then plus this energy is released. This energy is released, negative energy, right? The same energy released and same energy absorbed. If you remove electron, the same energy required. That's why both are same. Negative means the energy is released. Positive means the energy is added. Energy is added. In this case, this is electron affinity. It means that it will attract electron. So the addition of electron, when anything you add into this, energy is released. Just like the bond formation and bond breaking. When bond breaking, that is energy required to break the bond. Bond formation, so energy is always released. Whenever the bonds are formed, energy is released. So in this case, the energy is released, but in case of ionization energy, always be metal. And remember that electron affinity always concerned with the non-metal, and ionization energy always concerned with the metal. This is the difference, right? So ionization energy of the metal are greater as compared to the non-metal, but electron affinity of the non-metal are higher as compared to the metal. So in this metal, right, when you hit the energy required to remove the electron, then you will get 2 plus or 1 plus metal ion, right? So then electron is released, not energy. The electron is released. Okay, so energy is added, but here electron is added, here is energy is added, plus energy. But here electron added, energy is released. If you hit energy, electron is released. This is the difference between ionization energy and electron affinity. Affinity means attractive power, right? Anything which is not clear, please ask me now. Who will explain the difference between ionization energy and electron affinity?
Electron affinity to attract electrons,
Okay, very good.
and
And
ionization energy to remove electrons.
remove electron. So the energy required, just complete the sentence please. The energy required to remove the electron, that is ionization energy. And the energy released, not required. When the energy released by addition of electron is electron affinity.
Doctor, can you repeat the point about the metals and non-metals? Which
Right. Metal always Sakhi, you know that? Always electron release. Electron affinity always gain. Miser, always taking up electron. Okay? So when taking up electron, so this energy is released. When release the electron, the energy is added. This is only the difference, metal and non-metal. Metal always gain energy to release the electron. Non-metal always release the energy to gain the electron. Opposite. Is it clear or not? Major difference.
so ionizations the metals will be higher, right?
Yes, of course. Okay, now
and affinity non-metals.
yeah, these are metals we have and non-metals we have, right? These are positive species, these are negative species. These are always electron release. This always electron added, gain or gain of electron. Here is energy required to release the electron. Here is energy gain, energy required to release the electron. Here is energy release. and you added the electron. This is the difference now between metal and non-metal, right? Metal has high ionization energy. Non-metal has high electron affinity. Is clear this difference? This is
Yes, sir.
release energy, this is release electron, sorry, and required energy. But here opposite. Electron added, energy released. Energy released and electron are added. Okay?
Okay, clear now.
Okay. So this is, yeah. Electron is added, energy is released. But here electron is released and electron is released and energy is added. That means required. This is difference. Where the electron affinity of alkaline earth metal shown is either negative or small positive values. So as I told you, the electron affinity always be very small of the metals as compared to non-metals. Or you can say in the negative. Very small, very small positive, or you can say negative. But generally ionization energy is higher than electron affinity of the metals. Alright, now this is already finished, this chapter. And now what about the midterm exam? How much time we have? Only we have 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes. So and as I told you that the midterm exam will be, I'm sure this will be very easy for you guys and you can do easily. Chapter 2, you have to go through that. Chapter 2 and chapter 3. Chapter 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. Alright, so in just chapter 2, you should go to the naming, right? And you should know that what kind of ions and what kind of difference between the ions and between the neutral molecule, and how you get positive and negative charge, how you get 2 positive, 3 positive, or 4 positive negative or positive charge. You should know that. And what is the formula, systematic name of any three kind, number 1 type, second type, third type. The first type, to have simple all ionic compounds, you will write the subscript in the last, that is IDE, and you start from the metal, the full name, and the non-metal you should write the half name, then you put IDE in the last. That is first rule. Second rule is you have to use transition metal only. In transition metal you have to use Roman letter. So if you don't have any idea which one is transition metal, you go to the periodic table and find out. Then you have to write the systematic name of that. So suppose you have magnesium sulfate. So how to write magnesium sulfate? Magnesium is a transition metal or is a pure metal? Tell me now.
So teacher, but I didn't hear the
Magnesium.
matter. What was it?
Pardon?
What was you asking about? Which
Magnesium sulfate, right? MgSO4. How to write the name? Tell me the magnesium is first transition metal or pure metal. What is this? Then you have decide on that basis, right? What rules
Magnesium.
you will use to write the name of the compound?
okay. Magnesium will belong to the
Pure metal.
Pure metal.
second.
Pure metal. So you will not use Roman letter here, right?
Yes.
Okay. If I just put iron here, then iron is not the pure metal. Iron is a transition metal. So suppose iron sulfate. So how to write the name?
Iron. It's called. Oh no. Forget the name.
1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. 1 minute. You will not decide like this. Okay. Suppose you have
Iron sulfate.
right, and you have Fe Fe2SO4 thrice. There are two types. So how you identify the charge? First of all, you should know what are the charge. Then on the basis of charge, you can identify the name of the compound. So what is the charge here on this iron and what is the charge here on this iron?
First iron 3 and the second the second one 3 iron and the sulfate 2. It will be
This is second, now this is first, right? You are talking that, you are telling me that the second one is 3 plus 3, right?
Yes.
yes.
This is 3 plus, right? This is correct. What about this?
Plus 2.
2 plus.
Yeah, because you know that the sulfate always, you know that it is 2 minus, and so it is 2 minus, this should be automatically 2 plus, that is equal to 0. I told you, all ionic compounds, the addition of charges will be 0, right? So in this case, this is 2 plus. So when you write the name of this compound, you can write the full name iron, but because it has 2 charges, you have to write 2 Roman letter, and then you have the sulfate. But here you have to write iron full name, okay?
Iron 3 trisulfate.
No twice. Simple sulfate. This is not the third rule.
Oh, okay. Sorry, teacher.
Simple sulfate. Only Roman letter you have to change. Okay. Okay. Now iron sulfide. This is sulfate because SO4. Suppose you have iron sulfide like this, and iron nitride, this and like this, right? So this is nitride. So you can write here, this is Fe2 plus here, and nitrogen is 3 minus, but this is sulfide, you know that automatically this is sulfide is in the group of oxygen. So oxygen always a -2. So whatever in the same group, they all have same charge. This also -2, which is -2, so what should be here? +2, both equal to 0. So now this is Roman letter is 2 here. This also Roman letter 2 here. Iron 2, nitride, IDE, nitride. This is sulfide, IDE. So this is the only difference here, Roman letter. And the third rule is non-metal, right? Non-metal, suppose you have both are non-metal. So the write mono, never write in the beginning. You can simply write carbon tetrahydride. Okay. Take any other. Common name is same. This is systematic. This is systematic name. Remember systematic name. And common name for NH3 is ammonia. And systematic name is nitrogen trihydride. Okay. Now N2 F4. What is the name? Systematic name of this?
Dinitrogen.
Dinitrogen. Nitrogen, right? First full name.
Tetra.
Tetra
Fluoride.
fluoride in the last. Fluoride.
فلورايد.
Fluoride. Okay.
مسكت يا بحر وخلي ضيقتي فيني.
What he is saying is singing song or what happened? What is he saying?
عبد الله الزهراني سكر الماي.
Abdullah Zahrani. Okay, now the chapter 3. Chapter 3 is okay. You have to study, please. You go just chapter 3, empirical formula, limiting reagent, Avogadro's number. Okay. You have to just go through that practice.
Doctor,
Yes, yes.
there is an example in the slides. It's HI, and it's written hydrogen iodide. Why
Okay.
it's not hydrogen monoiodide?
It should be hydrogen monoiodide because I put HI, the wrong name. Then I ask in the class which one is wrong here. So you should tell me that one. That's why I put that slide.
Okay, thank you.
Hydrogen monoiodide. Okay, so chapter 3, you just go to the empirical formula, limiting reagent, Avogadro's number, and balance the equation in chapter 3. Chapter 4, I think balance equation in chapter 4, oxidation reduction 4.4 and 4.1 and 4.2. 4.2 is the precipitation or solid compounds are formed. All right. So what are the solid compounds? You should know that I already explained you in the class. Not all transition metal is solid compound. You will get all the second group metal and transition metal only the lead, gold, Au, Pb, silver, mercury. These whenever they are making the ionic compounds, they always give the solid product. Then you should know that how to write the molecular equation, how to write total ionic equation, how to write ionic equation. And you should know that in this equation which one is the spectator ions and which one are the solid product formed. In chapter 4, and oxidation reduction. For any chemical equation, you should know which one is oxidized, which one is reduced. And you know that oxidation reduction, removal of electron, oxidation, addition of electron, reduction. So wherever which the reaction is oxidation take place, so that will act as a reducing agent, opposite. And the reaction take place reduction, they will act as a oxidizing agent for others. So this will be like that. So you can just go through oxidation reduction, right? Chapter 5, the gases, you should know all the laws, right? And chapter 5, you have gases, partial pressure, total pressure, mole fraction calculation, and Avogadro's Avogadro's number, okay, Avogadro's law, there are 5 laws, and ideal gas equation. So these only 3 things, 4 things I already explained in the class. And if you go through this, inshallah, you will done better this midterm exam. And you should know in the pressure, that is different units. You should know that how to convert it. Atmosphere to torr, atmosphere to millimeter, millimeter to torr, torr to Pascal, atmosphere to Pascal. This conversion factor, you should know the relation. How much 1 atmosphere is equal to how much millimeter, how much torr, how much Pascal. So these are the units. Go through that in the chapter 5. In chapter 6, you should know that the quantum numbers. Chapter 7, you should know the quantum numbers. First quantum numbers. What is actually principal quantum number? That gives only about the shell. The second quantum number, angular quantum number, which gives about the subshell. The third quantum number is the magnetic quantum number, which give about the orbitals, means the orientation of the subshell in terms of orbitals. And last quantum number is spin quantum number, right, which gives the spin, only 2 spin are possible, plus half and minus half. That's all. This is all about the quantum numbers. And also you should know the different laws, principle, as you Hund's rule, Pauli exclusion principle, Aufbau principle, right? You should know at least the definition of that. And in the chapter, I think chapter 2 and chapter 3, you should know that the definition of the isotopes. What is isotopes? What is mass number? What is atomic mass? Okay, like this. And chapter 4, I think also you just go through the solution, right? Different kind of solution, molarity, calculation of the molarity, calculation, and how to identify strong electrolyte, weak electrolyte, non-electrolyte. You should know the example. This is all about the review of this. And chapter 8, just I already finished now, about ionization energy, about the Z effective nuclear charge, and about the isoelectronic, either cation, anion, and how to write electronic configuration of any metal and non-metal. And you should know that whether it is paramagnetic or diamagnetic, whether it is how you will calculate for any metal and non-metal, how you calculate Z effective, what are the core electrons, what are the valence electron. This is all about the things I already taught in chapter 8. So now this is review already done. Inshallah, you will do better. All the best.
Doctor, how many questions will it be?
17 question multiple choice, and 5 question or 6 question is small question subjective.
The equations, problems.